Hello, fellow workers of Glorious Hope. How was your step study session this week? Most of our participants have shared their family environment with you. And last week, they described how, as individuals, they tried to cope with the family dynamics caused by the imbalance in which they grew up. As a means of survival, they develop a pattern of response that ultimately shape their character, personality, and attitudes. Because they adopted a role of balance, the dysfunction, the role of because they adopted a role to balance the dysfunction in their family, that role ultimately became their identity. To maintain balance in that kind of environment, each member developed a coping mechanism that contributed to their insanity. Describing insanity is not only what any of us repeatedly do and expect a different result. A more accurate description of insanity is our recurring thought patterns, emotional responses, and behaviors that form our identity. It is rooted in our emotional memories and the belief system we formed from that experience. An example is the paralytic who was in the pool of Bethesda for 38 years. 38 years, that's a long time. And the culture that accompanied him around the pool of Bethesda, the kind of people that were there, and the attitude and everything that's going on over that long period of time. Slowly, those things now impregnated his mind. He holds the superstition that whoever gets first in that pool will get well. That is his plan and his hope. That's why when Jesus approached him, he was clinging to his belief. In fact, Jesus was trying to illustrate that we are just like that paralyzed man, holding on to whatever beliefs we have as our hope. Imagine the emotional roller coaster he went through for 38 years. 38 years, huh? The paralyzed person was not even a follower of Jesus Christ. But Jesus looked for him among the hundreds of sick people in the pool of Bethesda. Regardless of what that person's beliefs were or who he was following, it was immaterial to Jesus. He simply told him to take up his mat and walk. Jesus showed that he could heal a person physically and later offer deeper spiritual healing. Imagine being paralyzed for 38 years. How did that affect that person's thought pattern? How might it have affected his emotions, the way he responded to people around him, to life? Just like all of us, living in a dysfunctional atmosphere, trying to survive or balance our family dynamics in order to achieve what we want physically, emotionally, and mentally. That was our way of surviving our family dynamics. For us, maybe it was to be noticed, to feel accepted in our family, to feel love in our family, to belong in our family, or whatever might be able to meet our emotional, physical, or social need at that time. Those coping mechanisms we develop over time become part of who we are, our identity. Identity encompasses the memories, experiences, relationship, and values that shape one's subjective sense of self. It provides a continuous mental model of who we are, guiding how we perceive ourselves and relate to the world. This is what we call identity. We carry it within us in the form of recurring thought patterns, emotions, and behaviors that are not clearly visible from the outside but are part of our inner being. These patterns do not change overnight. Even if we learn a lot of things, they remain in us. They do not just change because we want them to change, but we need to be aware of how they operate and how they influence the way we think, the way we feel, and maybe and make the and also make decision. A lot of people nowadays find it really hard to cope with their identity, which is why there are countless mental health issues that are being discussed nowadays. Many people find it challenging to navigate their sense of identity because it's taken on a life of its own, shaped by external pressures and big life changes. When core roles shift, past experience conflict with personal values, or social media, it sparks endless comparison. It can shake up how we see ourselves and sometimes lead to an identity crisis. That's why people go deeper into vices such as drugs, alcohol, relationship issue, infidelity, teenage pregnancy, depression, suicide, and many more. Many people are seeking ways to reconnect with their true selves, trying to mend the often fragile sense of identity that can feel broken and disjointed. They lose hope and stay stuck for a long time, experiencing what can be called the paralysis of life. This term describes a state where someone is mentally, emotionally, or professionally immobilized, often due to fear, overwhelm, and overthinking. These feelings hinder action, decision making, and goal pursuit. As a result, potential is turned into stagnation. Can we identify with this? There are many cases in the Bible that illustrates the kind of condition people experience and find hope in Jesus Christ. Look at the woman with the issue of blood who suffered from a continuous unnatural discharge of blood. Her condition made her perpetually unclean, meaning anything or anyone she touches also becomes unclean. She was probably barred from entering the temple and had to live in a social isolation. Separated from her family and community, imagine how she felt during that time. What were in her thoughts? The resentment that she might have been feeling in her by it might be accumulating because of the rejection from people, from society, and how she was treated. Her act of touching Jesus' garment in a crowded place was a desperate, forbidden move that violated religious laws. Yet, she took the chance, even if it meant for facing harsh consequences. She would rather suffer physical pain than the emotional pain that she was experiencing at the time. What about the man? The man who lived in tombs. He was uncontrollable and possessed by a legion of demons. He was isolated, tortured, and considered lost by his community. This relates to severe mental health issues, addiction, or feelings of being irredeemable or unlovable. It shows that no one is too broken, damaged, or far gone for spiritual or mental restoration. Yet, Jesus, upon seeing him, completely delivered him, returning him to his right mind. There are many stories in the Bible that shows that Jesus' power operates beyond human limitation, transforming desperate and hopeless circumstances. Many people are looking for a quick fix for whatever problems they encounter. They're seeking guidance on how to address their mental health issues, which is why so many self-help books are selling. Our mental health is shaped by how we process events and by our upbringing, including emotional memories and belief systems. Our mental health also significantly influences the soul, the essence of our identity, purpose, and connection to higher meaning. Remember, we were created in God's image and likeness, designed to be aligned with God. Hopelessness is a symptom of how misaligned our souls are from God. Let us return to the image in which we were created. Our feelings of hopelessness come from not being aligned with God. Because for a long time, we relied on ourselves to find our identity in the world and its fleeting promises. When we feel that alignment is slipping away, we often repeat the same patterns and become exhausted chasing after a false sense of self. It's similar to the paralytic who spent 38 years hoping someone would help him reach the pool. Even when Jesus was right there in front of him, he kept chasing that distant hope. But Jesus, full of mercy and grace, gently told him, "Rise up and walk." I find myself in a similar place, putting my hope in everything that I was trying to do, restoring my business, reconnecting with my wife, thinking that achieving these things will bring happiness and define who I am. Jesus revealed to me that true hope is found only in Him. He showed me how to experience that hope as I work with Him in glorious hope. Many illustrations in the Bible pointing to Jesus Christ remind us that nothing is impossible for Him, meaning even the most hopeless situation can become opportunities for divine intervention. When things seem tough and desperate, turn to Jesus in faith rather than giving up. Trust means trusting in God's power over our circumstances. Often, situations feel overwhelming because we try to solve everything on our own. The Bible encourages us to bring these struggles to Jesus, who can guide us toward a way out even when it seems none exists. Thank you everyone for listening, and thank you for then may God bless you for another fruitful discussions with your participants in your step study session, and may God bless you all. Thank you everyone.